Namaste, my name is Amin Shakya, I'm Nepalese. I have a master's in water engineering and have traveled a bit. I play chess a bit. I love hiking and biking around in general, I would say. The mountains.
I'm Shairik and I did a bachelor's in chemistry, master's in environmental science, and now I'm doing a PhD in water resources. That's too generic a term, so to put it more specifically, I'm working on glaciated watersheds and trying to see the effects of climate change and how to predict the effects. Also, I am a huge enthusiast for traveling. Bangalore is in the southern part of India and it's pretty much the center, so it's same distance from each of the coasts, and it is surrounded by small mountains on either side, so you have this weird weather which gets locked up inside this place, which is why it rains so much. And yeah, we're in IISC working on the hydrological side. So.
Well, water is such an important thing that's around which all the civilizations are built. And currently with climate change, what we're saying, like our climate is changing and so is our water system. And it affects humans, and it affects some humans more than others. As in, probably the poor end up with the worst of climate change. They end up with the worst quality of water with all the health issues that come with it. And to be a part of, to have an opportunity to somehow help try to fix it, I think it's nice.
I would like to add a little bit onto that. So sometimes it's very difficult to explain what your work is, right? And say this one time I told someone that I'm doing a PhD and he asks me what I'm working on, and then I have to explain everything that I did without any technical terms. And this person was a tea stall owner, so I'm trying to explain my research to him. But the thing is, the reason I'm doing all this is to, like he was saying, so that it helps people. And if I have to be able to explain to him, that is my ultimate test, right? But the point I'm trying to make is that it wasn't really difficult to explain to him because climate change is something that affects everyone. Environmental issues are things that affect everyone. The question you asked is why we are doing this, or what drives you, what is the personal connection here, right? And I think that for each of us, climate change or environmental pollution are things that have a personal connection, but it's different for each of us, right? So maybe because Abel is from the mountains, for him it's about the snow that he can see or cannot see. For me, because I come from a place which is just beside a river, I can see the water quality change. I used to see dolphins 7 years ago, I don't see them now. So personal connections, I think, is important for anyone to be committed to anything. Environmental issues are the same.
Well, I had an interesting master's. I was in the Erasmus Mundus joint master's program, if you're familiar with it. So it was joint masters offered by 4 European universities. So between 2019 and 2021, I was in at least 4 universities in 4 countries. But yeah, pretty much I would say my master's journey was quite adventurous, even further stimulated by the global problems we suffered between 2019 and now.
I would say the biggest difficulty is keeping patience, because you have all this data to look through and you're trying to make sense out of chaos, right? So that is probably the single most difficult thing for me. Communication is something you can work on, but patience, you have to stick to it.
I would say I was born and brought up in Kathmandu, Nepal. So we used to have a lot of rivers, and 24/7 water and all. I could see it when I was 5 or 6. Like I still have memories of it. But then drinking water became a big problem in Kathmandu and in many of the developing countries, I think. It had to do with climate change, but also with urbanization of cities and just all the different changes happening that was directly impacting how much water people in cities were getting. So it's a really big challenge, and dealing with water again, you get to solve problems that affect people, and that's the biggest inspiration, I would say.
For me, okay, so if you look at environmental pollution, you can just cut it up into different sectors, right? And for me, the connection is also water, because I'm from Kolkata, and Kolkata is right beside Ganges, so I can see whatever is going on there. And the interesting part for me, or personal part for me, is my home is beside a factory, and it's a small factory. It's a textile factory, but they paint t-shirts basically. And the thing is, the workforce there comes only from the neighboring area, and this factory dumps out all the washed water out into the river. There is no purification or anything, because it's a very small scale factory, and the neighborhood people, they mostly come to that river, that spot. You have staircases leading down to the river ghat. So they come to that ghat to get water for their everyday work, like they bathe there, and some people take water from it to cook also. And the scenario is like this: the factory is letting out water from it, and people are bathing here. And I go into that river sometimes, and I do get rashes. But of course, if you're going there every day, you're not going to get rashes, but you're still going to get affected. And nobody is going to do anything against the factory, because it's against the interests of their livelihood. And I think that is a major problem we have overall with environmental issues, that it gets portrayed as issues against people or issues against working class people, where, like Nabil was saying, that is the group that is going to get affected the most first. So that makes the whole thing a lot more interesting for me. And by interesting, I don't just mean academic interest, something that I'm actively campaigning for.
A community would be people living together, somehow interacting together as a society, but perhaps also, I don't know, the biosphere, the animals, the monkeys around us, probably the trees. Good that we chose this venue actually. We have an actual community here, more than just people.
I think the best message that I can give is that as a person working in science, it's important to remember that whatever work we do is important, and we are working on the technical side of things, and that is required. But technical solutions is not going to solve the environmental problem that we have on a global scale. So it's very essential to work on both the technical side and the social side of things. So you guys are doing maybe even better than we are on that side.